Usually when I'm talking about changing your emotions or your behaviors, I'm taking what neuroscientists call a top-down approach. So essentially changing your mindset to change your physiology. The mind, when its power is used properly, is like a CEO to your body. So it's making those decisions and it's relaying the information down through your nervous system and through your actions out into the world, which of course create your results and your reality. And your body is more like this workforce that's waiting for that information to come in so it knows how to prepare for an upcoming situation, what hormones and chemicals to release, and how to respond in the situation at hand. So the CEO is running the show, right? But the employees are also extremely smart and loyal to the CEO. So your body, as that little workforce, is going to learn what your mind likes and doesn't like, or what it finds pleasurable and painful, or what wastes energy and preserves energy, right? So it's going to be constantly receiving the information and recalibrating and, in a way, remembering and learning how to respond to have a quicker and more energy conserved response in the future. So this creates this beautiful dynamic and collaboration between the body and the mind. Though if your body has received incorrect orders from your mind in the past or has misinterpreted what's only available to it through your five senses, then this system can be flawed. And I speak to this a lot in other videos and in my coaching and trainings, is if you have these old patterns and habits and programs that your body and mind collectively have designed that are no longer working for you because they worked for you in a past environment, but you're now in a new environment or a new situation, then we really need to examine those patterns and behaviors. Because if they're not working for you in the current situation, they're definitely not going to work for you in future situations. So in this situation, we can work with the body and take on what neuroscientists call a bottom-up approach. So instead of going from the top down, you are working with the body and moving up towards the mind. So you're essentially changing your physiology to change your psychology. And today I want to share with you a little exercise that only takes 20 seconds or less for adjusting your state and moving from your physiology up to your psychology to create the pattern and the new behavior that you would like to place instead. Okay, so before we get started, I want to just do a quick little check-in. So take a second and just check in with yourself. How are you sitting? What's your posture like? Are you hunched? Are your shoulders slumped forward? Is your neck kind of extended forward or your chin down? And just kind of check in and see where you're at. And just by me saying that, you might have already made some adjustments, right? If I say that to somebody, normally you're going to be like, oh, wow, I am. And then immediately kind of straighten up. So that's great. You've just created that awareness. Now, let's take a second and think about what somebody would do physically with their body if they were feeling depressed or sad or fearful even in any situation. So if you think about it, that individual is going to curl their shoulders forward, right? To kind of protect themselves. Maybe your head's going to slump down and your chin's going to go down. You're going to contract instead of expand, right? You're going to kind of make yourself really small. And we're doing this often all day long in front of a computer screen, and we're not aware of it. So think about the message that your body is sending your mind if you're constantly assuming this position for hours a day. And we are also sending the same message if you're in a social situation or a meeting or on a date or whatever, and you feel anxious or you feel shy or you feel insecure. And so you kind of make yourself small just innately, right? You kind of close off and hunch in. And again, you're sending that message to your mind that you're not safe and that you're feeling insecure and that you're, just not confident in the situation. So it's kind of perpetuating that loop. So we want to take the opportunity to intervene and interrupt that loop. Because if you think about it, we hear so much about body language and how that communicates to others, right? We are interpreting and communicating through what we're doing with our bodies so much more than we actually know. But what about what you're communicating to yourself and focusing on that and changing that system and that loop? All right, so now we're gonna stand up and I will take a second to do it with you. So get up, get out of your chair just for a minute. It's gonna feel good, I promise. Raise this up here. Ooh, it's a little crooked. It's really crooked. Okay. So we are going to do a little exercise that was made popular by social psychologist Amy Cuddy in her famous TED Talk on power posing. And we're just going to take 20 seconds and go through it, and you are going to feel amazing after. Okay, so let's take the opposite end of the spectrum from what we talked about earlier, where you're feeling kind of, anxious or low or depressive and kind of contractive. So if you're feeling the opposite and you've just experienced a win in your life, like you've just closed a sales deal, or you've just had an awesome date, or nailed that interview, what are you going to do with your physiology instead, right? Most of us are going to expand. We're going to put our shoulders back, raise our chest, chin's going to come up. We might even throw our arms up in celebration, right? And so you are going to be entirely comfortable feeling seen and feeling heard and feeling confident in your body and your physiology. And that's obviously communicating to your mind and creating a different loop in your system now. So that's what we're going to consciously and intentionally do together to create that new loop and send that new message to your brain. So I want you to just take a second now that you're standing and widen your stance a little bit. I wish you could see my feet, but can't do that right now. Widen your stance a little bit and just feel into the ground below you. Okay, and then now straighten your spine as much as you can. Get as tall and big as you can. Puff out your chest or expand your chest and put your chin up, raise it a little bit, and just hold that for a second. And you can even, for Amy Cuddy's video, she talks about putting your arms on your hips, which became known as like the Wonder Woman pose or the Superman pose. That feels good to me. So you could put your hands on your hips. If you're feeling like super wild, you can throw them up if you want. Go for it. Do whatever you want. Do what feels good. But you can just kind of put your hands on your hips and stand in this position for at least 20 seconds. And the science shows that holding this for up to 2 minutes actually adjusts your cortisol levels. So it lowers cortisol and it increases testosterone. And testosterone is known to make us feel more confident, both in men and women, and more assertive. So lowering your cortisol by holding this pose and increasing your testosterone is going to make you feel alert and calm. And that's exactly how you want to feel in situations, right? So you're paying attention and you're available for that information that's coming in, and you're very present, but you're also just very calm and centered. So this is essentially the perfect combination to just give yourself a boost in social situations and to just tone it down a little bit, because I suggest doing this. You could do this like in the bathroom or before you enter that meeting, or whatever. Of course, in your home office before you get on camera, you can stand up and do this for 20 seconds to 2 minutes and have that adjustment in your physiology, which affects your psychology and changes those hormones. But obviously, if you're in a situation where you're already in that meeting or you're on that date or on that coffee chat, whatever, and you start to feel yourself get anxious or insecure or feeling depressive and kind of low, and you start to collapse, you can create that awareness like, oh, hey, I'm going into that body and to that physiology that is contractive and not expansive. So you can adjust consciously instead in that situation and just straighten up your shoulders, pull your chin up and get your spine as long and tall as possible. And you will be amazed at how quickly your mind responds like, oh, okay, we are safe. We are okay. We're more than okay. We are in control in this situation. And the more that you do that and the more that you feed that loop instead and kind of create that as your default, that is going to create that new loop and that new default for you to return to next time. And the more you do it, the less you'll even have to think about it. It's also important once you do make that adjustment to just take a few seconds after to clue into how you're feeling in your body, because that creates this reward for your mind and for your body, and it strengthens those new neural pathways with those feel-good hormones instead, so your body knows, okay, that's a good response. Let's return to that one instead. In conclusion, this isn't about relaying a message of power to other people. This is about relaying a message of power to yourself. So it's you talking to you non-verbally, you reclaiming your power and bringing that power back into your system, because maybe you just forgot for a moment, but it is always there and always available to you.